Well, I gotta say, even though you will see a horrific game of this in the playthrough, which is the quickest Mr. Jack game of all time, I love this game. I think this game is an exercise for the brain.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You can feel the cardio in your brain as you try to figure out what is your optimal choice to make.
Yeah, and it's such a challenge from the Jack side of the table, which is how I played at both of these games. Like you have that initial draw, and I think it's what I did sort of wrong the first game, I guess, was you have this initial draw of like, oh, I've got to get my person invisible. I have to get invisible so that I can escape. But really, you have to keep as many people the same status as possible.
Right.
And so there's constant like that struggle of, I really want my character to go get invisible so that I can work on this progress, but that's not going to happen right now. So how can I keep the most people visible right now to eliminate the fewest suspects? I like that a lot.
Well, the other thing that is awesome about this is it's a tactical game. You can have a strategy of what you want to do. Like you're just talking about strategy.
Right.
Strategy is I'd like to keep the detective in doubt as to who Jack could possibly be by making sure that as many people share the same status, visible or invisible.
Yeah.
Preferably all being invisible, but that would be against,
that gets easier. Yeah, that gets easier as some of the lamplights go away, but that's very challenging early in the game.
Right. And so you're basically, it's mostly a tactical game based on the four.
Right.
And then the knowing that in the next round, the other four will be. So it's not totally random.
Yeah, every other round you get that random shuffle, and then you're going to get the first four random, but you know what's coming next.
Right. So that adds an extra layer of tactical thought that I don't know, exists. I guess if you had a simultaneous reveal game in a deck where you have a limited number of cards, it's left.
Yeah.
But here it's basically half and half.
Well, and you have to make a decision. Again, every other round you're going first and fourth. So sometimes you're like, okay, don't even bother looking, let them pick something out of the way, and then I've got to deal with two of the three things left.
Right.
Other times you've got to pick what's the one thing that I really want right now, knowing that I'm going to get the last option afterwards.
Right. You might have to concede that someone's going to get used. If you're Jack, you may have to concede that someone's going to get Sherlock and turn over one of the suspects.
Right. Something's going to get eliminated for free.
But you're going to have to balance that against making sure that there's enough people that are not near each other or near each other if that's unfortunately what you need to happen.
How you need to happen.
I like the different abilities of the characters. Mm-hmm. There's a slight learning curve the first time you play the game, or if you haven't played it in a while and you come back to play it, remembering what's a mandatory action and those sorts of things. But this game, I think, is at its best where you play 1, 2, 3, 4 games in a row.
Yeah.
Because you can get a game in even a solid game.
5 minutes.
Right. It was 7 minutes.
Oh, okay.
But you could also, 30 minutes is about what you're going to be maximum.
Even if you do the 4 rounds.
We were almost at the 8th round, and we were still looking at a 30-minute game.
Yeah.
So it's one of those games, I think, that's designed for you to play it multiple times, maybe switching who plays Jack, who plays the detective, so everyone gets a fair shot, if that matters. In my experience, it is easier in some sense to be the detective on paper, but in practice, if there's an advantage, it's slight at best.
Yeah.
And certainly
it does feel very balanced because you both have the really clear objective of either keeping people bunched or spread out so that you can eliminate the most options per round.
Right.
Or if you're Jack, eliminate the fewest options per round. Like that feels pretty even either way. You can use the abilities, you can use the people, but both of you want Jack to be made different than the rest so that you can rule him out. Like you can narrow it down to just him.
And another aspect that I enjoy about the game is there's actually a spatial quality to the strategies as well.
Yeah.
Because, moving a lamplight, exchanging it with another spot makes one and not the other.
Yeah.
The moving of the barricades. And then also having things like the special power of moving this, him calling people towards him. There's the spatial element to, what you have to make a decision on.
Yeah, there's several hidden movement style games where one person is, trying to disguise where they're moving around. But I feel like this has a really unique go at it because all the pieces are on the board all the time. You're not like writing on a pad and pen over here like,
That's
I'm
right.
stepping over to J7 or whatever. You're on the board all the time. It's just a matter of, can other people, like, you constantly have to be like, okay, who can see my character? Who else can see each other so that I know who I'm like, who I'm disguising myself amongst?
And then another aspect about this game that I will point out is there's a sense of mental attrition. There's a chance where you're going to make a fatal mistake,
right,
that might have been obvious if you had noticed it.
Yeah.
But when you don't notice it, it is absolutely fatal. Now, in the quicker game we played, I'm not sure that was the case. I think that was sheer luck of the draw.
Luck of the draw, and then again, like we were saying off camera, you had 2 of 3 picks to do, and happened to leave me the one that let me escape. That's
right.
Like, that's just luck.
Exactly. So I like that sort of mental strength. If you lose, there's a real good chance you left a fatal mistake.
Yeah.
And something you didn't catch.
Could I have? In round 1, did you end up moving one of the lamplights? I think
I did.
It's possible that if you went back and looked at it again, you could be like, oh, if I had moved this lamplight here instead of that one there, then I would have kept fewer people visible, or fewer people invisible.
That's right, because in the second game we played, there was much less. There was much greater disparity between seen and unseen.
Yeah.
I only knew.
Yeah, the first time we played, we lasted longer. Basically, half of the field was gone after turn 1.
Right, and this one only one was out.
Yeah.
So that's a huge disadvantage for the detective.
Yeah.
And it could have been that there was a move, a more ideal move that I could have made.
Right, instead of making it a 4-4 split, do 3-5 or
right.
2. Now, who knows?
I don't know.
The path could have still opened up for an escape.
Well, that's one of the things I love about it, is that there's so many decisions, any one of which could make the difference.
Yeah.
But the length of the game only being 30 minutes, it's sort of like, oh yeah, you kicked my butt that time. Let's tee it again. Let's go again. And so, I mean, to me, I find this game on a short list of designs that are genius. Like, this is genius at work to me.
I agree. It checks all the boxes if you enjoy. I mean, the obvious parallel for me, which is a much longer gaming experience, often is
Whitechapel.
Letters from Whitechapel. If you like that sort of tense, hidden movement, feeling like, I mean, my heart was racing as you were picking characters because I knew there was only one chance for me to actually get out of there. And this is, again, we were 5 minutes into that game at that point or something.
Right.
As you're picking 2 actions, and it's incredibly tense already.
Yes. I mean,
so
I feel
it
like
packs all of that tension of those like hunter-hunted kind of situations into a very short experience.
Well, yeah, and it really comes down to the card you picked.
Yeah,
that's the hidden movement thing isn't the same as Whitechapel in a sense. Going in that this is going to be a battle of attrition,
right?
Mental attrition to me in Whitechapel, which is the most tense game I've ever played as Jack. If you play as Jack in that game, I can think of no other game that provides a physical palpitation like that game does.
Right, but I'm saying I got some of that same experience in a game that lasts
by drawing
30
a
minutes
card
at max. Yeah, one card and a couple of movements per turn, 8 turns long, and you're still going to get that sort of experience.
And you're also hiding in plain sight.
Yeah,
which is also right. It's not. It's even somehow more tense in that sense. You can see the detective moving your player, Jack, away from the exit.
Yeah, or you chose to move a blockade out of my way, or opened up a manhole cover. Yeah.
Well, that's why I think it's a genius design, because to be able to pack so many decisions, most games that provide my most enjoyment to me are ones where there's meaningful decisions and a sufficient amount. Some games have too many meaningful decisions, and if you're not in the mood, it's not going to be fun. This game, I think, fits just the right amount to make me uncomfortable with every move that I make, and also knowing that every move that I make is an important decision. In a 30-minute game, that's why I think it's genius. It's just the right amount. It's not too much. It's not too little. If this game went over an hour, it would start to wear out its welcome, I think. It becomes...
It certainly could. It could also get very snowball-y. If it were 15 turns long and Jack had to stay hidden that long, it could be that just over time, the detectives... in our first game, which lasted into round 7, I think.
Yes.
You had basically a 50-50 call and you decided to just go for it.
Right.
After only 7 rounds, that feels like the right time to try to have to make that call.
I think if it were 9 or 10 rounds even, it would seem a little too long.
Yeah, well, and I feel like it would weight itself, other than a quick escape, the idea of hiding and just sort of lasting long enough, I think that wouldn't be a valid path anymore.
Right, that's what I said. I think they picked the perfect length of the game, which is another part of the genius of it. So to me, on a scale of 1 to great, this is about as high as I can give a game a rating for what it does.
Yeah, I totally agree. But probably will add it to the collection, because this is one that I haven't played until today, but really enjoyed. I think it fits a lot of different play styles. It's fairly easy to learn. I feel like it's fairly easy to teach, but like you said, all of your decisions have a level of complexity and importance on every single one that it doesn't feel so super fluffy lightweight for a game this short.
Well, there you go. Mr. Jack. Awesome. Please like and subscribe.